So to understand the gunas, first let's define this reality that we live in. So this reality in Sanskrit is called prakriti, or what we refer to as the material universe. And it's made up of the five elements. Right? So everything in this world is a composition of the five elements. By itself, they have no energy to it. It's just these five elements that come to life and then turn to dust. Now, there is an underlying energy which is called Maya. Maya is an illusionary energy that gives life to this material creation. So almost look at it like a painter who's using the paint, the substance, and then puts together a painting. So the painting gives you a feeling, but the actual substance themselves don't give any feeling. It's only when they're all put together do you have a feeling towards the painting. So in that way, it's said that as long as we're in this reality and we don't understand our true self, we're in something called avidya, or spiritual ignorance. And that's because the energy of Maya has enveloped us, has shrouded our Atma, and we're not able to see clearly. So that energy of Maya then projects out how we interact and perceive things around us. So that interaction and perception is based on three levels. So when we are very much in Maya, very much in the mind, we see reality in a very gross way, in a very lethargic way. So this is going to be when somebody is very, very violent, when somebody is very, very lazy. And so these types of places are going to be, let's say, like, I would say war zones, right? So that's a very tamasic energy, a very lethargic energy. The second is called rajasic. So rajasic is very active. So you're very passionate. And so these are places like Wall Street, where there's a lot of action happening, but all for material gain. So an example would be, I'm walking and I see a homeless person. If I'm tamasic, I'm going to try and take the money that the homeless person already has. So I'm trying to do harm to him. Well, the rajasic person walks by and looks and says, I don't care about you. I don't care if you have money or if you don't have money. I'm going to do my own thing and keep walking. And then the third is called sattva. So sattva is when we see things in a more peaceful state, right? So that's like the studio. That's like being in an ashram. That's where you are more calm, you're more peaceful, and you're ready and open to help others. So I walk by, I see this man, and I give him some money. So that's more of a sattvic reality. So each one of us sees this world in the lens of one of these three energies. And to wrap it up in a more like a story way, imagine a man, and he is going home, and one day he decides to take a shortcut through the forest. So he goes through the forest, and it's night, and he comes across three robbers. So the first robber goes and says, let's kill him and take his money. The second robber says, let's not kill him. Let's bind him, take his wallet, and throw him in a ditch. And the third one says, let's not do any of that. We have enough money, let's just let him go. So they have a conversation, and they say, okay, let's listen to the second, bind him, throw him in a ditch, take his money. They do that. Then the robbers go their way. A little bit later, the third robber comes back and he says, I'm so sorry that my brothers did this to you. Unbinds him, gives him back the wallet, takes him by the hand, and goes to the exit of the forest and says, that is your way home. And so the man looks and says, come with me, right? You are a good person. Why are you in the forest? Come with me to where I'm going. And the robber says, no, I need to be here with my brothers. I can't go where you're going, but I'm showing you the way. And so that's how we can look at the gunas, is that when we're striving to be spiritual, we should strive to be in a more sattvic energy. Our practices should be sattvic. Our community should be sattvic. Our spaces should be sattvic. And as we do that, we start to purify the mind. And then eventually we get to a point of enlightenment where we transcend all three qualities and we connect to the pure essence of Sat, Chit, Ananda, truth, consciousness, and bliss. This is called Shuddha Sattva. That's the purity beyond the gunas. So you use the sattva guna to take you out of the forest. And once you do that, you reside in pure truth, consciousness, and bliss.
I love the way you broke that down. Thank you, man. Yeah, so the sattvic energy, I think it's important to reflect on how these three qualities are not just mindsets and ways of operating within life, but are infused into everything within the Maya or within the forest, as the food that we eat and etc. So could you give a couple more examples how tamas, rajas, and sattva are infused into how we relate and connect with many different aspects of life?
Sure. So there's two ways that we can look at the gunas. One is fixed and one is, let's say, constantly transforming. So as long as Prakriti or material universe exists, everything has a fixed composition and a fixed guna related to it. Okay? That has nothing to do with your external perception. It's just the inherent nature of that particular object in this world. So for example, when you look at the ocean or the mountains, it already has a natural sattvic composition. If you go to, let's say, a bar or alcohol, it already has a natural composition. It's not how you reflect to it. It carries that. So as long as we live in this world of duality, by nature, everything has to have one of these gunas. If it doesn't, then everything would be just stale, right?
Right, yeah. It's like the quality of anything that, like water has the quality of wetness.
Exactly.
Any other thing could have a quality of one of these three.
And that's what brings variation.
Yeah.
Because if everything had the same guna, there's no variation. What would be the point of this material reality?
Right.
So by nature, everything has a guna associated with it. Now, when you interact with that guna, two things can happen. If that guna is strong enough, or let's say the object, right? So let's say alcohol has the object of tamasic guna. Now, when I interact with it, depending on my own natural composition, because each one of us also has a certain composition that we embody. Some are more sattvic, some are more tamasic, right? So when I interact with alcohol, that either reinforces my tamasic energy if I'm tamasic, or it brings me down from sattva to tamas. So my interaction has an influence on my internal state and framework, right? So that's why it said we should surround ourselves with sattvic things, because that keeps us in a sattvic state. Now, every once in a while, if you are very spiritually powerful, you have the ability to transform something that has an inherent guna. So an enlightened master can take alcohol and turn it to sattva guna. But that's only if you've transcended all three gunas. I cannot do that. I cannot transform alcohol into a sattvic guna. But an enlightened being can. So in that way, everything has a natural composition, and our interaction with it will affect our gunas. And every once in a while, an enlightened master can change the very basis of an object if they have reached a certain enlightened state.